Hey guys, my name's Justin and welcome to Hellsborough, where we care about the design behind designer luxury. And if you do too, make sure to subscribe. Alright, so for today's video, I have a Battle Royale! Boo, 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 boo. Sorry, that's just the noise that I make for them now. That's just how it's gonna be, sorry. So for the uninitiated, a Battle Royale is basically kind of like a tournament style where we pit 8 different bags up against one another until we get down to the final 2. They battle it out head to head, and then we have our winner. We look at the shape, form, material, practicality. We go through all the different topics that are kind of relevant to the bag. And with spring coming and temperatures warming up, I think we'll find ourselves out of the house more, willing to do more of the footwork, to go explore, and have more eventful days, and that's why I wanted to bring the Tote Bag Battle Royale. It's for the working girl, it's for the girl who has a lot of things to do, a lot of places to be, people to meet, things to carry. So for today's bags, we have the Louis Vuitton Neverfull, the Gucci Diana, the Goyard St. Louis, the Loewe Basket Bag, the Telfar Medium Shopping Bag, the Bottega Veneta Andiamo, the St. Laurent Icare Maxi Shopping Bag, and the Dior Large Book Tote. Alright, let's go to round 1.
Round 1, match 1.
Louis Vuitton Neverfull
Versus
Gucci Diana.
Fight.
If you are even familiar with luxury, leather goods, whatever, I'm sure you're familiar with Louis Vuitton. And if you're familiar with Louis Vuitton, I'm so sure you're familiar with the Neverfull. This bag is the workhorse for so many people. There's not millions, but there's like a crap ton of like different styles and varieties. But the one I want to talk about today is just the original, the classic. So the monogram, and then the shuttle leather that goes into the little like, it's like a petal style, or like leaf shape that goes into like a really thin handle. And then there's 2 pull cords on the sides to kind of like bring it in if you need like a smaller bag, but I think most people just let it be like the full size bag that it is. It used to be only lined, I think, in the red, but then they started offering different color insides. I think there's like even pink in there, which is like fun. But let's move on to the next bag, which is the Gucci Diana. So the Gucci Diana is, it's a tote bag. Whatever, these are all totes. I'm probably gonna say that a couple more times just because like that's how I am. But instead of it being this very like generous kind of like boat trapezoidy, is that right? Okay, math nerds, let me know in the comments. Is that a trapezoid for the Neverfull? This thing? Rhombus? No. I don't know. Anyways, the Gucci Diana is more like rectangular. I think it's a square. The main things to note are it has like a separator kind of panel in the middle, and then show the inside, you cowards. It has a zip pocket in the middle to separate the 2 different compartments on each side. And then one side has a zip pocket, the other side has like just like a flat pocket. But then as far as the actual look of the bag, I think what makes this bag stand out is that it has bamboo handles. I don't know. You guys are looking at the bag. I don't know why I'm like drawing it out for you. I think I do that a lot, forgetting that I'm like, oh yeah, the picture's gonna go up there, and then I'm just like, whatever. Okay, but then let's put them side by side. Of course, the Neverfull, it is a larger bag. It is more practical in the sense that if you bring it to work, you can fit your laptop in there. You can put in, I don't know, snacks. People make it a diaper bag I've seen, which, yeah, that works. Why not? It's coated canvas too, so if you get pee on it or whatever, it'll just wipe it off. You know, in case there's like a little pee, like, And then on the flip side, we have the Diana, which was made popular by the late Princess Diana, but it's not just the history that I think makes it interesting. I think one of the additional things that Alessandro Michele introduced actually to the Diana is that the handles originally came with little like plastic holders to help keep the bamboo in shape, but then he introduced leather straps to put on them to make it a little bit more stylish and to make it more of a something to enhance the style rather than something you just take it off and hide. It doesn't carry as much, even if you get like the biggest size of it, it doesn't carry as much as a Neverfull. But honestly, when I talk to people who have Neverfulls, they say that they can't even put that much stuff in the bag, or at least not that much heavy stuff in their bags because the straps are so thin. Automatically, that's such a turn off. I'm so not into that. Like, I fully respect everyone who has it and had it as their first bag or has it as like a travel bag, a beach bag even. Like, when people tell me it's like, I have like a red line going on my shoulder, I'm like, that's not fashion. That's not fun. That's not a good time. So for me, it's the Gucci Diana.
Winner.
Gucci Diana.
Round 1. Match 2.
Goyard St. Louis
Versus
Loewe Basket Bag.
Fight.
Alright, so the St. Louis it's a Neverfull. I didn't want to do research because I don't care that much. So I don't know whether or not the Neverfull or the St. Louis tote was first. To me, it doesn't matter because it's literally a bag that's shaped like it's a tote bag. For all I care, it could be like an IKEA shaped bag. Like maybe IKEA did that bag shape first. I don't know. Like, I know that the Neverfull was only introduced in like the early aughts or something like that. Like, it's very recent. So for me, I'm like, I'm gonna assume that it was Goyard that made it first. I do want to know that the Goyard, like, I don't know if it's called like the monogram or whatever it is, but they're kind of like insignia of the pattern of like the little falling cubes or whatever. It's very much like Cubert, like that kind of idea. At least to me it is. I don't know if I'm gonna get heat for that, but like, I do find that very interesting. I love like the almost like Escher-esque geometry, and I do know that that is hand painted on, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very mistaken. There's just a lot of mystique to this brand that like I don't particularly care for because it makes it feel very like inaccessible in a way, so it's just not my favorite. That being said, again, I do know that this is another workhorse for people in the same way that the Neverfull is. And you could even say like the Goyard is just like the more expensive, like maybe lesser well-known, even though I think it is now very well-known, big sister to the Neverfull-ish. One thing that I do think is annoying about this bag is that, or maybe it's just Goyard in general, but so this bag is not lined, it's unlined. It's basically like, I guess you would call it like the canvas backing or whatever to the bag, whatever, the insides. But then they have the audacity to call this bag reversible, and they even show a picture of it flipped inside out. And I get it, like the seams are finished and like, you know, like it technically works in that way, but it's literally so stupid and so ugly. I'm so sorry if you have this bag and love it and you flip it inside out, but I realistically do not see a reason for anyone to do that unless they're just like, oh, I don't want to show off my wealth, I'm gonna flip my bag inside out so you can't see the monogram or whatever, which I'm like, if you have that much money, I'm not saying anything. And then on the absolute opposite side of the spectrum, kind of, we have the Loewe Basket Bag. And I know this basket bag was super viral like a few summers ago, but one thing I'm realizing now is that the shape, even though it's organic and it's a completely different material, the shape of the bag is kind of similar to how the Neverfull and the St. Louis are, where it's this kind of like that trapezoid shape. Sure, it has like the leather plaque on the front with like the monogram, and then I think it says Loewe under it even. But then it has these leather straps that are pretty thick, which I do love a thicker strap, especially for comfort. But then there's little like punch holes in the handle, so you can change the length of the straps. I think that's such great like functionality for such a basic bag that I think most people don't even carry unless it's like to the beach or something, for quick errands, for picnic, you know, summer, whatever. Like offering this kind of functionality for like a very like, I think, kind of seasonal bag, I think it's great. I love that idea of that. This bag is also unlined, but thank God they do not say that it's reversible, because that would be insane. They sell like little drawstring bags for you to put inside of there. They do ones with like collabs and Paula Zibiza or whatever, so they're like super cute. But that being said, you can also just put the dust bag in there and then make that your like little drawstring pouch. Okay, but let's compare the two. You guys know where this is heading. Don't know how much respect I have for Goyard, especially considering all the horror stories that I've read about like the edges cracking, the leather like tearing, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. Things wear down, but like from the pictures that I've seen, I'm like, y'all, this is not acceptable. If you're paying so much more and you're paying for something that should be a workhorse. It should be durable, it should be long lasting. And considering the context of each of these bags, honestly, I'm gonna give it to the Loewe Basket Bag.
Winner.
Loewe Basket Bag.
Round 1. Match 3.
Telfar Medium Shopping Bag
Versus.
Bottega Veneta Andiamo.
Fight.
This bag, y'all, is perfect. Yes, it's marketed as like faux leather or whatever, like vegan leather, which means plastic, but like I'll link my review for this bag because I love this bag so much. It is a durable bag. It is a very basic rectangular shape, but the medium holds any size laptop. It's super practical. I know the strap, the longer shoulder strap, crossbody strap, not detaching is kind of annoying for some people, and I get it, but it also means there's less moving parts to break, fade, wear down, or whatever. On the inside of it, there's one zipper pocket, and then there's actually like the little tag with the Telfar logo, which has a little pocket for all your goodies. You know, your little, I don't know, whatever you want to keep. I'm just gonna make any more gestures. I don't want to go to prison. And then this bag is lined, which gives it a little bit more of that like luxe quality, even though it is kind of like a contemporary, just like a designer brand. And then the Andiamo bag we have from Bottega in intrecciato leather. From the outside, it looks like it's gonna be just like a typical 2-compartment bag where it has that kind of like fold on the side, kind of like a gusset in a way where the handle is. And you think like, oh yeah, and that's where the compartment is. No. And correct me if I'm wrong, because it's actually been a little while since I looked at this bag in person and I can't find any decent pictures of it on the internet, but underneath the handle, it is open. So it actually is a huge compartment. And then there's kind of this sliding little pocket on the sliding crossbody strap that separates one of the compartments. So you actually have like a huge compartment, like, and then 2 small compartments, or however you want to divide it. And I think that is an amazing amount of practicality, versatility when you're looking at a bag like this. One of the things too I wanted to mention about that sliding crossbody strap is that if you double it up, you can easily turn it into a shoulder bag. I think you could comfortably wear it in a way, as long as it's not like too loaded up, slid all the way so that the strap is longer, and wear it as like a crossbody. The handle I thought looked super thin, but then looking at it with an actual model in the frame, I was like, okay, never mind, that actually seems normal and might be, I don't know, hell, comfortable even. And then of course, Matthew Blazy has been introducing bits and bobs of hardware of like interesting shapes or whatever onto all of the bags, or a lot of the bags at least. Like we had like the anchovy one or whatever. Is it anchovy or sardine? I can't remember. Also, like, what's the distinction? Does anyone really know? But then this one has like a little bow, kind of like metal piece that kind of connects the 2 ends of the crossbody, and I think it's actually kind of cute. I like it. And this is where it's heartbreaking, because when we have to compare these bags, obviously I am a stan for Telfar. I love that bag so much. But there's something so exciting about a tote bag that actually has interesting construction and a huge amount of versatility. So that means that the winner of this round is not Telfar, it's gonna be Bottega.
Winner.
Bottega Veneta Andiamo. I'm crying. Just kidding, I'm fine. This is acting.
Round 1. Match 4.
Saint Laurent Icare Maxi Shopping Bag
Versus.
Dior Book Tote.
Fight.
Alright, so let's look at this last pair from round 1. We have the Icare Maxi Shopping Tote from YSL, which, sorry if you have it. Do you guys know that phrase where it's like, oh yeah, it's like, let people enjoy what they want. And then it's like, okay, well, I enjoy being a hater and critical analysis. And that's what I am right now. I'm a hater. Let's critically analyze? And not anal? Nope. Let's critically take a look at this bag. It's kind of a taller version, but a similar kind of idea to the Neverfull, where it is this kind of trapezoidal bag, but then you can bring the sides in using this little chain doohickey with like a T-bar, which I actually really do like that detail. I think that's really fun. It's just everything else about this bag. So again, we have this square quilted leather. It basically feels like they're just copying like every other brand that has already done this. Like it just feels very like a weird choice to put it on this gigantic bag, because it makes this bag feel like such a weird scale. And then on top of that, it has this huge YSL, like metal hardware, just plastered onto the front of it, right in the middle, which is gigantic, which also makes the bag scale feel so strange. It feels so weird. The handles, they just look like they're offcuts of leather that have kind of been thrown onto it. It does look comfortable, I do have to say. I have to give them that. And I do acknowledge that this could also be a workhorse for some people because it's such a big bag. But I just literally cannot get behind a bag that feels so sloppy and weird. Like, I don't understand how this bag went viral. And I'm sorry, like, if this is your favorite bag and you have it, your first foray into luxury handbags, and you're hearing some random person criticize it, know that, like, I'm a nobody, so, like, who cares? Also, if this is, like, not your first one, you just, like, got into the hype, I'm like, why did you let yourself do this? Like, come on. On the other side of that, we have another bag that I have no hate. It is the Dior book tote, specifically the large one. Because I think that is the one that so many people fawn over. They lust over it. In some ways, with good reason. I love the embroidery work that's done on this bag. It's so beautiful. The toile de jouy. Did I say that right? For the first time in my life. More recently, we've seen the map of Paris. I think that one's beautiful. That one's got me like this close to being like, do I want a book tote? It's made after this like old-timey map. Like, I think it's so interesting. Like, who doesn't want something that's like, in a way, self-referential, because I'm pretty sure Montaigne Avenue is on it, so it's like, oh look, there's the Dior store. Oh my god, what if you like bought that bag and you brought it to Paris and you're like, excusez-moi, how do I get here? And then you just like pointed to like wherever 30 Montaigne is, and then the French person is like, oui. Anyways, the Dior book tote, it is what it is. It's this giant, empty, unlined tote. Now, let's put both of these bags together. That would be a nightmare, if you... Okay. But, let's compare the two. The Dior book tote.
Winner.
Dior book tote. Alright, so that was the end of round one. Thank God. Let's move on to the semifinals.
Semifinal. Match 1.
Gucci Diana
Versus
Loewe Basket Bag.
Fight.
Alright, so comparing these two bags, they are very different. We have the basket bag, which is super casual, summery, easy breezy, super like, let's go to the beach each, let's go get away, kind of that kind of vibe. And then we have the Diana, which I think traditionally it felt a little bit more reserved, conservative, a little bit more... I want to look for a word that doesn't make it sound bad, because I think it is good that it was kind of like, it was regal, but now it reads a little bit more casual thanks to the interpretation that Alessandro Michele has done. I hate using this word, but like classy. Like, it feels sophisticated still. It's very clean, classic bag. Oh, let's use that word, classic. But then it feels a little bit younger depending on if you use the little neon straps or if you wear it as crossbody. But you can also wear it without and make it feel a little bit more formal, a little bit more elegant. I love that kind of versatility. You know, we talk about like the actual practical versatility of bags, but not like the visual versatility of bags so often. So to bring it up with the Diana, I think is really fun. I think one thing that we can't overlook is kind of like the seasonality of these bags. Obviously the basket bag, it feels very spring, very summer. Depending on where you live, you can use it for either like 90% of the year, or you could use it for 10% of the year. I know like some people don't, me included, believe in like the shape of the bag being super seasonal. Hell, I would even carry the basket bag around in winter if I like felt like it, you know? That being said, when we take a look at both of these bags together, it feels a little bit unfair because of the seasonal aspect for the basket bag versus kind of like the year-round wearability of the Diana. And then I'm just gonna pile on top of that the practicality aspect of the Diana, where you now can do crossbody. You can top handle it. You can put it on the crook of your elbow. You can do it as a shoulder with the strap. And then you have multiple straps with some of the bags. You can wear it with the little straps or without on the handles. And I know I talked about the Loewe Basket Bag having like the straps that you can extend and shorten, and oh my gosh, the practicality for such a simple bag. But when you compare the two, it really doesn't compare, unfortunately. Like this is one conversation where I love both these bags. I think both of them have a time and place. When we're talking about the one that's really giving it more, it's gonna be the Gucci Diana.
Winner.
Gucci Diana.
Semi-final. Match 2.
Bottega Veneta Andiamo
Versus
Dior Book Tote.
Fight.
So, when we're talking about these two, I love the look of the book tote. I'm obsessed with the embroidery and the amount of work that it takes. And then when you zoom up into the actual look of the embroidery, you can see like all the loops and everything that gives everything its shape. That being said, I don't think that the intrecciato is anything to like laugh about, because it is quite beautiful as well. And the fact that it's bonded in a way that makes it look so clean. Let's talk about the insides. So like I mentioned before, the Dior book tote is pretty much just empty. Like it is what it is. Other third-party people or whatever, they sell like inserts for it to give you a bit of organization, which I think is fine. I would just prefer to have it already built in, because I don't know, like weird like that. But then the Andiamo, the compartment that's kind of like open between the two, I think there's something so interesting about like being able to just give yourself a little bit more room on either side of it from like that one compartment. At least when I think about certain things when I'm packing like a bag to like take out, just like an everyday bag, not like a travel bag. I want like one big compartment, and I want like a tiny one for the stuff that I know I'm gonna reach for a lot, like lip balm or keys or something. Like I want it on that other side so it feels a little bit more secure, because that's the side I would put next to my body, right? But then it would also be like, if I know I need to reach for one of three things, I can just reach in this one side and know I can find it. And that's what I kind of love about that. Honestly, I would say in a way, I think the book tote is prettier than the Andiamo, which is also a quite beautiful bag. But then I feel like with just every other category and thing to look at with the bag, it's kind of obvious, right? I think we knew this. It's gonna go to the Andiamo.
Winner.
Bottega Veneta Andiamo. All right, so that is the end of the semifinals. We are at the finals. I'm so nervous.
Final.
Gucci Diana
Versus
Bottega Veneta Andiamo.
Fight.
I love both of these bags literally so much. The Diana was actually on my list of the only tote bag that I thought was kind of okay. And by kind of okay, I mean like I desperately wanted it. And then now talking more about the Andiamo, I'm like, oh my god, is this also on the list of tote bags that I want? So we'll see. I think one interesting point I wanted to bring up about both of these bags is that they kind of come from two different eras, right? The Diana, I think, used to just be called like the bamboo handle tote or something very like matter of fact. It was called the bamboo handle tote bag. I know my facts about Princess Diana. So this bag was created in 1991, which I know you're thinking like just in a different era. The 90s. Yeah, because the other bag was made for the spring summer 23, so it was made in 2022. 30-year difference. I would definitely mark that as a different era. I almost threw up a little. It's okay. It doesn't have history yet. It doesn't have a story. It doesn't have anything that I think draws people to it, minus like this one picture of Jacob Elordi carrying it that everyone is crazy about. But a picture of Jacob Elordi does not history make. Yeah, you know, give it 30 years. We'll see. When you take everything about each of these bags and you kind of like set them next to one another, honestly, I didn't quite realize until I started talking about it, just like when we started talking together, how similar they are. I kind of believe that if Princess Diana was still alive, she would carry the Andiamo because it's beautiful, casual, still feels like elegant, and it is, I think, or at least it has the potential to become like a classic bag shape for Bottega. I don't know, this one's tough, you guys, because like they both have the versatility. Sure, one doesn't have the history, but it has the potential. It doesn't have a story, and I feel like it's difficult now more than ever for bags to have stories about them, just because the trend cycle moves so fast. And the way that celebrity works is like celebrities are constantly just carrying whatever the next thing is. Princess Diana, she carried like this square type of bag. She carried the Lady Dior. She carried what is now called the Diana. She carried that kind of style, so she became known for it, and people recognize those bags. I don't know if any bag has the potential to like have a story like that anymore, besides like virality, hype, all those kinds of things, which I think are just cheap shots at having a story behind it. But then I think it also comes down to looking at the craftsmanship, and I think time and time again, we've seen that the construction and the way and the thought that goes behind these Bottega pieces, where not only is it just like a sheet of leather, like folded up into a pretty package, but it's these like meticulously like interwoven pieces of leather coming together and then being folded and then being attached to itself in a very specific way, I think is what sets these bags apart, which is so interesting because I used to think that like the Bottega look felt very dated. And maybe it's just that I'm older, that I can recognize like the craftsmanship. Or maybe it's that they've had a couple of creative directors who have this more like younger sensibility and this ability to kind of like see through what's already existing and be able to push through and like elevate what's already there and make it new and interesting. And of course we can't forget Alessandro Michele and the fact that he saw the strength behind the Gucci Diana and then bringing it out of retirement in a way. But in the end, I do think that despite these bags being quite similar, I am gonna give it to the Andiamo.
Champion.
Bottega Veneta Andiamo. All right, so that was a lot of me talking. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with what I said? I feel like this is slowly becoming like a Bottega Veneta stan account, even though I literally don't own anything from there. But yeah, let me know. Do you think there's another bag that should have been in there besides all of the ones that I kind of mentioned? Or do you think there's even a bag from this batch that should have won over the Andiamo? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys. But that is all I have for you today. So if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It lets me know that you like this kind of content and that you too care about design. Nope. Bye. You care. The design. Nope. You care. No, wait, what?